Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. I got another Master Duel video for you. It is Monday, which means it's once again time for another one of our weekly viewer specials. And for those who aren't familiar, the weekly special is a video series that we do every single Monday in which we showcase games from you all, the viewers. This way we get to see all of your cool decks that you've been cooking, stuff that I might not necessarily be playing on the channel myself, and of course it's a great opportunity to sort of come together as a community and again just see each other's cool games with the brews that we've been cooking. So if you are interested in submitting a game for the viewer special, here's how you can do that. Go down to the description below, and among all the cool links there you should definitely check out, there is going to be one in particular for the Discord server. An invite link to the Hexlexplex. And then once you are there, go to the Master Duel section, under which you will find the Viewer Special Submissions channel. From there, the main bit of information you're going to want to drop in that channel is your 9-digit player ID. This will, of course, allow me to view all of your publicly saved replays. As always, as ever, please do make sure that you are not only setting your replays to public, but also that you're entering this 9-digit code correctly. Those are definitely the two biggest things that stop me from being able to see people's games. So please make sure that you're double checking that info. From there, if you have multiple different games that you want to submit, even if they're all with the same deck, that's completely fine. I just ask that you don't submit the same game like over and over again. It's really the only thing that I ask, but otherwise, yeah, you got 10 different games. Feel free to submit all of them. I definitely do watch the vast majority of things that do come through, even if they don't get featured on the channel. You know, there's only so much we can feature per week, so if you didn't get in this week, there's always the next one, and the one after that, and the one after that, so on and so forth. So, all right, that's my spiel. Why don't we go ahead and start looking at some of these games. Okay, August the 2nd, aka Yumi, over on the Discord server, has a game that I am quite eager to watch. It's a deck that I've actually been meaning to cook with a little bit myself. I just keep forgetting to do it. And that is going to be Skull Servant. So let's go ahead and take a look at the list here. Looks like we are, yeah, it's a pretty classic Skull Servant build. One of the things that's actually really cool about the deck that I haven't tried out yet is White Lord. Last time I played this deck, this card had not been released yet, but this is actually a pretty huge buff for the Skull Servant deck. It's like basically a way in archetype for you to actually mill your own cards, which the deck was desperately hurting for, so cool stuff. Looks like we're blending it with a lot of really just good generic zombie cards. Oh, very eager to see this. All right, let's see what our opponent's on. Oh wait, it's gonna be under details, confirm opponent's deck. Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty typical Tenpai deck. So let's see how we do here. Yeah, I've always loved Skull Servant. I mean, even as a kid, when the only support for it was King of the Skull Servants, I was like, oh, that's funny. We gotta cook something with that, so. Alright, so we won the coin flip and are going first. I do always feel that's important to note when watching games against Tenpai, because it kind of gives an idea of how much information the player has about what they're up against, right? So we're going to go White Prince into Link Rebo. They're going to try to Gamma our White Prince. That's brutal. That's unfortunate. Yeah, we're going to have to let that go. We could have used Ash Blossom to negate it, but at the same time, Ash Blossom only negates and does not destroy, and Gamma is not once per turn, meaning, of course, that the Gamma would simply resolve again later in the turn. Alright, so Shundra, wow, they just went Lightning Storm straight into the Shundra here, didn't they? We get to drop the Shundra's attack to 0, but they do get the Pydra for the Sangen Kaimen. Now, we do have a couple of Ghost Girls in our hand, and it's looking like it might actually be enough to get us there. Because, yeah, here comes the Bident Dragon. We can Ghost Bell that, right? And then, when they go for Sangen Kaimen, we can Ash Blossom that. And that should take us through our opponent's battle phase here. I love that animation on the Ghost Bell. Yep, there's the Kaimen. Here's our Ash Blossom. Nice altar, by the way. Alright, so that's going to get negated. We take the damage, but that's fine because we're not dead. They set a card and then pass back over to us. So, we're looking at White Lord and Shiranui Solitaire. Alright, so yeah, White Lord, as you saw there, since we have a Skull Servant monster in our graveyard, we can send it from the hand or field, but in this case hand, to mill up to the number of Skull Servants. I believe that did include itself. Yeah. And we hit 2 extremely good zombies here. Holy, that was an insanely good mill. Mizuki and Gozuki. Yes, please. Oh, goodness. Yeah, we're going to use Gozuki right off the bat, especially in that Shiranui Solitaire from hand. They're going to Valor it, but we still have that Mizuki. So now I get to bring back the Gozuki. Now we can use Gozuki's on-board effect, or we would if it weren't for Imperm here, which would have milled any zombie from our deck to the graveyard. Which could have done any number of things there. Excuse me. Oh, but White Lord! That's right, White Lord's got the second effect where it can bring back the White Prince. We can sack off the White Prince for Link Kuriboh, White Prince effect to now send Lady and Skull Servant, and then now we can use White Prince to turbo out a King from our deck. We don't have any Skull Servants in our yard, so it does have 0 attack, but that is an extra body. Now, we can go into the SP Little Knight, use the effect to banish the Biden Dragon, meaning it won't come back later. And now we're gonna go for a Link 4 or 3. I didn't even see this in the extra deck. I completely glossed over that. Otherwise, I 100% would have acknowledged that. Look at that. We have Borland in here too. Oh, hey, we're on Summon Sword. Yeah, I should have acknowledged the extra deck a little bit more. I just glanced and saw the zombie synchros and Vamp, and I was like, yep, that's zombie stuff. But wow. We're actually just going for the Tryhard, which is a pretty generic boss monster in the grand scheme of things, and also an excellent Tenpai counter. Turning everything to defense mode means even if they are able to out it with a card effect, they can't battle with anything that's been summoned. That's great. I love that. Oh, that's genius. Yeah, they're just gonna concede. They can't do anything against Scareclaw Tryhard. Scareclaw Tryhard in the Skull Servant deck. That's wild. That's insanely cool. Thank you very much, August the 2nd, for showing that game. That was mwah, chef's kiss. Love it. All right, that's far from all we've got though. Why don't we see our next gameplay vid here, or replay? Huh. Okay, our next game comes to us from Abe Mania, who has a game playing Altergeist, looks like, which is another deck that I've played before, but not in quite some time. What is this card? Kyorigetsu. Equip spell, special on a level 4 lower fairy. Spellcaster. Oh, because it's from the Bracelet Girls from Arcvy. That's why it's so many random types here. Special summon 1 level 4 lower fairy, spellcaster, winged beast, or beast warrior monster from your hand. If you do equip with this card, then you can return all dragon monsters on the field to the hand. That's very thematic. During the end phase, if this card is in the graveyard because it was sent there from the spell and trap zone while face up, you can add a polymerization, fusion spell, or fusion parasite. Interesting. So I guess we're mostly just doing that to special our Altergeist from the hand. Okay. Yeah, it's been quite some time since I've played Altergeist. It's like the very beginning of my channel. And then our opponent's on Galaxy, right? Yep. Pretty standard looking Galaxy build. Let's go ahead and dive right on into this. Well, okay, never mind. We are. I was like, oh no. Do I have to cut and start the segment over? But the game was like, nah, you're good. I was like, okay. So. Yeah, I'm trying to remember why I stopped playing Altergeist. Well, I don't know, because, like, I don't mind back row-based control decks, but I am a little picky about them. Like, control decks in general, I kind of feel that way. I prefer the vibe of control decks like Vanquish Soul, as opposed to, like, super back row-based ones. That's just what I prefer to play, you know? I don't, like, I'm not gonna be a quote-unquote typical Yu-Gi-Oh player who, cries kicking and screaming on the floor and my opponent sets more than 2 cards face down. But as far as what I like to play personally, I guess Sky Striker, but even then I don't really play that deck that much either. I was going to say Sky Striker is a little more in line with the kind of control deck I like to play, but no, I don't even really play that deck that much. Okay, they have an Imperm for our Marionetter, so we're not going to get to set up our trap cards here. The Protocol is the one you would want to set up, right? Is that the one that negates? Interesting. So they Photon Jumper to stop 1600 damage, which kind of tells me that they're planning on doing something with this jumper as a body more than anything else. Either that or they just really didn't want to take 1600 damage. We have the Solemn Strike for the Photon Emperor. So that's not going to get to come back here, and that's all they have. Okay, personal spoofing was... I was wondering if I was getting mixed up with this card, but this card doesn't even have Altergeist in the name. Which, why doesn't it? This would have been completely fine. Like, I think they did it for balancing reasons. I don't know. To be fair, maybe when Altergeist first came out, that would have been a little too strong, but I don't know. I didn't play during that time, so... I did not play at all during Master Rule 4. I quit shortly... I quit the TCG shortly before Master Rule 4. I quit right before Zodiacs came out, right when Pepe was still, like, the big deck. And then I came back when Master Duel came out, so... But from what I remember, because I actually did kind of keep up with Yu-Gi-Oh! Even during that time. Like, as far as, like, I didn't, like, super detailed keep up with the game, but I was still following, like, what decks were big, at least. And, I don't remember Altergeist ever really having a meta impact. Alright, our opponent has not been able to land any of their Galaxy stuff. They're kind of resorting to a Bagooska to stay in the game at this point here. We're going to use our Silquatus to bounce the Multi-Faker. We can personal spoofing that back in order to search a new Altergeist card as well. Going to grab the Pukure, which is going to help us go into some amount of link-based plays, I would assume. Oh, and we get to use our Equip spell here for the Meliaseek. You know, we get to go for the Hextia, which of course cannot be turned to defense mode and in turn negated by the Bagooska. Now we can trigger both the Meliaseek and the Pukiri. That's pretty good. Pukiri gets to add itself back, and then Meliaseek can add the Conquere. Now we can use Pukiri as an elite material from hand, because we didn't do that before we summoned it. And then now we're going for the Prime Banshee. Hextia effect gets to add the Protocol. There, we finally have access to it. Moving to battle, we can Banshee over the Bagooska with just enough attack points to do so. They are grabbing their last copy of Galaxy 100, but now that we have Protocol online, we should be looking pretty good. Multi-Figure gets to come down here too. Multi-Figure effect, and especially Silquatus, and there we go. This is like pretty much the Altergeist gameplay loop right here. This is a lot of how this deck controls down, right? You can use the Protocol to send stuff to negate, and then also the Silquatus bounces. And then, of course, the Multi-Faker is kind of the linchpin of that all. It's funny, when MD first came out, I think Multi-Faker was at 1, wasn't it? Or was it at 2? I think it was at 1, and then it went to 2, and now it's at 3. So I guess maybe Altergeist was good enough for this card to get hit at some point. I have a hard time imagining what that world looks like. Not to say that it's a horrible deck or anything. I think Altergeist, especially after the newest wave of support, is actually a lot better than most people give it credit for. It's one of those decks where, like... It's one of those decks where I'm not saying it's like a sleeper tiered threat, but it's one of those decks that the only reason it doesn't see play is simply because people choose not to play it. I mean, that's going to be inevitable when there's so many different decks available in Yu-Gi-Oh! But... you know, just because you never see a deck doesn't mean that deck's unplayably bad. I would not in any world imagine Altergeist to be that. I think if Altergeist saw appropriate play for its power level, it would be a solid, like, mid-rogue deck, honestly. Right up there with stuff like, what else is mid-rogue? Stuff like, I don't know, Scareclaw. Hero's probably a little higher than that. Sky Striker's probably a little higher than that. But, like... Thunder Dragon, you know, that kind of a power level where, like, you know, not a tiered meta threat, but a respectable contender in the meta. So anyway, got one more game we're going to dive into here before we finish off. Let us see that one. And our final game comes to us from Toadette. Toadette, who is playing quite an interesting pile here. Oh, wait, you can't see it in rating duels? Oh, because it's rating duels, you can't see it. Okay. So we can't look at Toadette's list, unfortunately, or our opponents, or their opponents, but we are playing an Infernoble Makanko pile that I think is using the new Flame Swords and stuff. I think that's what Fighting Flame is, right? Fighting Flame OTK, I think, is the idea here. Yeah, look at that. We are, in fact, using the new Flame Swordsman stuff. We're going for a Diabellstar, pitching that Salamandra Fusion, setting up the OSS here. We're immediately switching music too as we do so. Alright, so OSS grabs Ricardetto of all cards. I mean, that's not that surprising, I guess, but usually if it's Infernoble Knights, don't you grab... Well, no, you know what? I mean, it's been a while since I've played Infernoble Knights, but I could see a world where you would set up Ricardetto here in the graveyard. Alright, so we're going to Isolde to mill 4. Toadette also very aptly pointing out that this was one of the few replays that she could get without, you know, the opponent conceding as soon as Isolde came down. Which is very valid. I remember... Okay, there's the Fighting Flame Swordsman and the Salamandra. Hell yeah. But I remember having that exact same issue when playing... It's one of the reasons why I haven't played more Infernoble on the channel. It's one of those decks where, for that exact reason, quality games of it are really hard to come by, actually, as far as, like, good replays go. Alright, Fighting Flame Swordsman's going for the Flame Swords Realm here. I don't know, I said this on the Patreon when we looked at these reveals. Or no, maybe I said it on the main channel, I actually don't remember, but, like... I personally am not a fan of every DM nostalgia card getting its own archetype. To me, a lot of the appeal of the old DM decks is that they were a bunch of kind of mishmash cards put together. So, like, when Flame Swordsman stops being a cool standalone monster and just has, it's like, wow, look, it has its own deck now! It's like, that does not excite me. I get that it does excite some other people, and I'm not saying that you're, like, invalid for, you know, liking that Flame Swordsman has its own deck, but to me, it's kind of just like... I mean, I know I've actually said this before, because I remember making the same comment before, but I get the exact same fatigue from it that I do from, like, the endless sequels, prequels, remakes in, like, movies right now, you know? No, right now. For the past, like, almost decade at this point. Where it's like, okay, yep, I remember the cool thing, but can we have some original content, please? That's kind of like my... That's kind of my whole standpoint. Yeah, this looks like some pretty typical Infernoble stuff at this stage in the combo. Well, actually, the Baron, I don't know if you usually make the Baron there, do you? But now we're going to go into the Flame Sword, or more of the Flame Swordsman stuff, rather. So with the Flame Swords Realm, we're going to fusion summon original Flame Swordsman. That's really funny. And now we're going to go for the Mayawashi Dori, equipping it to the Hare. Hare's effect gets to add to the Aberesque. Normal summoning Ash Blossom. Equipping with Aberesque. Aberesque to summon another Hare, and then bounce the Ash to hand. Now we're overlaying our two Hares, okay? For the MX Saber Invoker. Interesting. Alright, Invoker effect detached to summon the Heroic Challenger. Yep, I know this part of the line. For the call, and then we can link, and then now we have a call from their body. We're making the S beat here. And we're passing. So what does the Sword's Realm do? When a monster declares an attack, you can target one warrior monster you control. Till the end of the turn, it loses exactly 1,000 attack, but then the rest of your board gains 1,000 attack. Yeah, that is like what Flame Swordsman was kind of all about in the anime, right? Particularly when it was a dual master. Oh, and the Blue Flame Swordsman does this too, where it gives its own attack points to other monsters. I don't know if I know why that's Flame Swordsman's thing. I don't know what about having a sword that's on fire lets you give your power to others. I guess you hand them the sword, but anyway. Alright, our opponent's going for some Lightsworn shenanigans. Looks like they're on a tier variant. We're going to Ash Blossom to charge. I think they build a Rhino Heart there, so they might be able to summon that. Okay, no, looks like it's just the wolf coming down here. Stacking Lumina to summon the Weiss, and then, oh, they did hit a Fuser there. Shyren and Rhino Heart now going to end up making the Kikalos. Alright, Kikalos F gets to activate here, but we're going to SP and banish both her, excuse me, and the Kikalos. Good banish, because even though the opponent still gets the mill/search, now they can't do all the, like, mill 5 setup with Kikalos. Okay, so Salamander with a Chain turned their Weiss face down, and that's it! We successfully controlled down their board with our end board here, so good stuff. Hell yeah, rating duel game featuring Flame Swordsman as part of the Makonko Infernoble Knight combo pile. Great stuff. Thank you very much for that game, Toadette. Thanks as always to everyone who submitted. Again, as always, you know, we could not do this series without you all, so I really, really do appreciate it. Just submitting every single week, the fact that you guys do that is so, so important. Because I love this series, and I love that we get to do this. So, and again, couldn't do it without you all. But that'll do it for this one. This is Hexlex, and I think we're just going to move on to our outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Just want to give you a huge thanks for watching all the way to the very end of the video. Believe it or not, that is actually one of the best ways that you can support the channel, is by watching the videos in their entirety. But there are many ways in which you can support the channel if you are so interested. The names that you're seeing on screen here, I gotta give an extra special thanks to, because these are people who have chosen to either become a member on YouTube, which if you're interested you can do as well via the join button next to the subscribe button down there, or have signed up over on Patreon and become members there. Link to that is going to be in the description below. Without the support that is being offered by, again, all the people that you're seeing on screen right here, I would not be able to take the time to dedicate to uploading daily YouTube videos. So thank you so very much. But there are also other ways you can support as well. Again, link to the description below. If you like my deck tracker that you'll see in a lot of my videos, the Untapped Companion, you can download that for free, and if you use my affiliate link down there, then that also goes a long way towards supporting the channel. That's, again, free. So is subscribing here on YouTube. That's also free and a huge way to support. You can also check out Twitch, once again linked in the description below. Following and subscribing over there will not only support as well, but also give you notifications of when I go live if you want to catch some of the live streams. But really, no matter how you choose to support, it all adds up and it all definitely means the world. So thank you, each and every one of you. For now, this is Hexlex. I'm going to be signing out. But more than that, I'm hoping that you have a fantastic day.